Welcome, coaches, to the Coaching Magic Podcast, where we reveal, discover, and create the insights, tools, and aha moments that make your coaching seem, well, magical. I'm your host, Jill Young, and I invite you to listen up, giddy up, and buckle up as we play with this creative profession of coaching that helps humans become their best, including you. Today, I invite you to listen in as I interview and hang out and geek out with one of my best friends and co-creator coaches, Pam Kosanke. Pam has insights that she's going to share with us, and you'll see and feel this energy of co-creation as we work back and forth. But she's going to have these insights for us around life, around things that are big, expansive, team coaching. She's going to bring us some insights from the world of sports. So I really hope you enjoy this episode, and I invite you to feel it, feel the energy that we're creating here. Enjoy.
The number one rule, there's endless do-overs.
That's right. They're unlimited do-overs. If this sucks, we delete it. If this doesn't suck, we put it out for the world to hear our nonsensical, paradoxical insights on
our non-suckiness.
Exactly. Pam, when I was thinking about this, and I'm like, I'm going to have Pam on the podcast, and I'm so excited, my biggest question was, what hat is Pam going to wear? What hat did you choose today, Pam?
I am wearing this fun hat from Cuyuna. And it's a mountain biking area in Minnesota, and there's my favorite coffee shop is called Red Raven there, and it's so good. They have all these awesome stuff, good, really healthy food. Fucking love it. Can I cuss, or is that bad?
Oh no, we can cuss.
Okay, cool.
And then also, yes, I was just your T-shirt because I had an inkling.
You knew
that was our Save the Whales T-shirt. Pam, we're going to talk about coaching and magic and all the things, but I think we need to first talk about how you and I and Sarah got those T-shirts.
Oh my God, yes.
Bring the whole world into the magic of the whales.
Magic of the whales.
Go, Pam.
Yes. Okay. Wow. Thanks for giving me a softball.
Yeah.
The magic of the whales. So I was in the jungle in Costa Rica, and I was with this group of people who were just ready to get down to their wild self. And this woman was obsessed with telling me that I had to go see the whales with her. There was some sort of whale excursion. I'm like, first of all, who are you? What's your name? And I love the invitation because I feel like I'm inviting myself, which is, of course, one of the rules. And she kept kind of bringing it up. And at some point I'm saying, let's listen. I'm going to listen to that. So that was a couple of seed plants, and it just kept going. And then eventually she called, she kept talking about it. And I kept seeing whales to the point where I was seeing, synchronicities of whales. And I went to Meow Wolf by myself, and there was this giant display of whale deodorant. And it was like a fake thing about whale deodorant made from their blubber. I was like, this is insane that this keeps coming at me. And I'm like, they have to tell me something's brewing. And at some point you're thinking, okay, I got invited to celebrate International Whale Day. And I'm going, why? What is going on here? And also, okay, your phone can listen to you. But at some point I'm literally poloing, which is that magical technology of video messaging with you both. And I am talking about, hey, I'm actually really contemplating going to see the whales. It happens to be working out. There was only 2 slots left. And I talked to this magical person who is leading this, lives in Hawaii. It seems like she's also a unicorn of some sort, maybe also speaks whale. And she photographs whale. I mean, the whole thing is just too amazing. So I'm like, okay, I got to go do this. But I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure. Maybe I should go. I hang up the polo, and a radio ad plays. A radio ad that is not, AI-ness. And it says the Minnesota Orchestra is playing the theme songs to the new National Geographic, documentary about all the whales in the entire world. And they've been doing this for like 3 years, and it's their coming out party. And so, of course, so I was like, I have to go. I have to go. There's so many whales. And then, of course, Sarah was like, maybe we should just meet up. And then you're like, oh, I have time. And lo and behold, we go to the orchestra to hear the whales speak to us. And we all got these Save the Whales t-shirts. And I'm going to switch hats.
And now she has another hat. Oh my gosh. I did not see this coming.
Yeah. How does this is a better look, actually.
Great.
I don't like the helmet head thing. And so this is the first time that I've ever tried this. I'm not sure if it works, but I think
perfect.
it does.
This is a perfect place
you
to
can
try
hear me.
things for the first time. This is what we do. This is what we do.
I'm a beginner.
Pam, we're going to get into so much of this. I'm writing all of these cool things down.
Oh.
And I'm going to bring everybody else up to speed on what the fuck is happening right here.
Yes. Jill, please.
This is so coaches, if you're still listening.
Big if.
Listen, if you're still listening, maybe even if you're thinking, what is going on right now? What podcast am I listening to? Even go back and listen to the beginning of this again, because what you're witnessing right here is absolute creativity. It's co-creation. Pam has just dropped some truth bombs and some insights on co-creation. As coaches, we co-create. You're listening to, and you just got a master class in what it, Pam's like, master class?
I'm like, from who?
A master class, maybe to a very extreme and big level of what it means to listen and be open to those sparks of curiosity, sparks of imagination. A lot of times when we're coaching, one of our jobs is to expand the possibilities for the humans and the teams that we're coaching. And if you're feeling at the edge, like what just happened with this story Pam told us about the whales? What, the whales? What you're feeling is you're at the edge of a different way, a new way to expand possibilities. And it might feel absurd to you, but there is absolute science, and I will look it up because I can't quote it right now, but there's absolute science. I've read it, I've experienced it, that when we expand our possibilities for the humans we're coaching, for the teams we're coaching, for ourselves, when we expand our possibilities, we come back to, okay, and now what do we want to create? We come back to, and now what's possible? And now what do I want? Now what does this team want? So you just got a masterclass in what it can feel like and what it looked like in Pam's life, this masterful coach, if she expanded her possibilities. Now, Pam, I'm going to ask you some questions about some things you said, but before I do you want to reflect on any of that I just pointed out?
I love that you spoke about this expansion idea that feels like it's a universal part of everything in the world and our bodies, how we breathe, how we move, expansion, contraction, right? And playing with that and finding new edges so that you actually can re-find your center feels like an endless exploration and kind of the game of it all. And as I was reflecting on all the ways that I was seeing the synchronicities, I even looked in The Whale in this Animal Speak book, because I wanted to understand something's happening and I wanted to play with it. I wanted to see if there was messages for me, and I was looking for it. And I was thinking of this, I think it's Roald Dahl, the guy that wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and his quote around that said, "Those who don't seek magic will never find it." And there is a world in which that might be fine. And I am just choosing to say, hey, I want to see it, name it. And ever since that commitment happened, and I felt like I had the courage to just go for it, it all just starts to unfold, and the edges just keep expanding.
They just keep expanding. When we're open to these new possibilities, Pam held up a book. If you're listening to this, Pam held up a book that says Animal Speaks. Now, for some of us, and I know even 5, 10, certainly 15 years ago, I would have said, well, that book is for fun and for other people. Now I see different tools, different perspectives like that as an opening for a new possibility. And as coaches, that's our job, is to hold the space and help our human or our team. Oftentimes, when a human or a team comes to us, they're stuck. Our job is to open up possibilities. One of my first moments with this that was very, very, it felt very surreal to me. Like, is this real? Is this really happening? Is my coach crazy? Has my coach lost his mind? One of my coaches, it's a very popular, useful. I thought I was going to go into this and have all of these tools that I maybe already knew about, or that were very like in this box, which, as it turns out, there was never a box. As in, think outside the box. There was never a box. So
Mic drop.
yeah, this was my experience of what I was going to go in and be coached in this little tiny box. And we're talking about my energy, and I had one version of my energy as like enthusiasm, and I just had one picture of my energy, and it feels like just in this moment, the picture I had of my energy felt very flat. Not flat in energy, like it was still high energy, but just two-dimensional. There we go, two-dimensional.
I was just thinking that.
You know what he does? This amazing man, he pulls out some dowsing rods in the middle of our session. I'm like, what? Isn't that like, that's like some kind of hocus pocus something? Just, like, okay. And he was very serious. Like, okay, look what these elements from the earth, they can sense your energy, and we did it. And I'm like, dude, are you moving those with your hands? And just that stuff. And it's, when I researched it, it's the energy of the earth that has always been here. Like, of course it is. So when Pam, we think about things like the whale song, hello. I remember sitting in that concert with you and feeling the music of the orchestra, which is really fun. And I had feelings. I remember thinking to myself, I feel like I am feeling in layers. And that's something that I teach in coaching. I teach in coaching that there are layers to things. There's layers to my paintings. So I just got this other perspective that there were layers to music. There were layers to thought. And if I hadn't been at the orchestra, maybe I had never found that possibility. So coaches, like, if you are in a possibility whiplash right now, welcome to the program. I encourage you to just keep your edges open. This is what we do for our clients. We open up their possibilities, and if our possibilities are closed down, so I'm talking about myself, I'm talking about Pam, because I know Pam, we both used to have our possibilities in a tiny little box. And we're expanding them. Pam, gosh, I want to talk about so much. You said so much.
Jill, there's one thing I was just thinking about as, I held up the book. It's a fun story. And there was a kind of a sense of that, that book is for fun, and I thought, wow. And I know you know this, but I was thinking, fun, there is no but. There's something about this playfulness that actually is, it can be, right? A higher order, more expansive way of actually communicating. And a lot of hard, more, I would say, expansive views are told through song, through poetry, through laughter, through, jokes, through music. And actually, there's a guru favorite of mine, and yours now too, Martha Beck, who reinforces this all the time, that your cognitive self can process 40 bits of information per second.
That's pretty fast.
It's pretty fast. But the rest of your body, the entire rest of your body, your nervous system and everything else in your body can process 11 million bits per second. And I got to tell you, that blew my mind, and it continues to blow my mind because it feels like this untapped resource. And when I think about the idea of play and of laughter and full body feelings and intuition, that to me is where the most expansive ways of moving can be. And I completely underestimated most of my life, thinking all was in the cerebral side of things, the academic side of things. Mm-hmm. And I was playful and kind of absurd, but I didn't actually take it seriously. The paradox: take fun seriously, people. You must treat play with absolute, whatever, honoring.
Regard. The highest regard.
Highest regard.
The most important thing we must get done today.
You must play and laugh. God damn it. And I, it's funny. Another thing I was thinking about is this idea of just, and I'm kind of getting in a little bit to this somatic work that just feels like a lost art in my world, and I had just no idea to really tap into it. And somebody told me that that authentic play is the actual pure definition of presence, which everybody always seeks. I'm trying to work on being present in 2025. Like everyone's New Year's resolutions. I want to be here. I'm like, good job.
Very focused.
Turns out you are. Check.
Let me squeeze my eyes really hard and go.
I know.
Pleasant.
I know. I'm like, check. I'm like, try something harder, because turns out you already did it. Yeah, it's so funny. But also, this idea of authentic play it's where there's literally no sense of it's total safety, because you're playing and there's no scanning for danger. And I find that is one of the best ways of moving in coaching for me personally, and because it speaks to me, and it also disarms hard things. It does.
Pam, when I love what you said about, and maybe we'll pull on this thread a little bit. There's so many threads to pull on right now. I'm like,
there's so many chains to yank. Yank my chain. Pull on my thread.
So many threads to pull. And I sometimes in my body, when there's so many threads to pull, I try to hold on to all of them because they're all gold. And what I am learning right now, I am in the act of learning to play with it, let it flow through me, and it will come back. It will come back. It will come back at some point. It will come back at some point.
You know what I just drew? What I just drew?
Oh.
An infinity
loop. It also looks, turn it the other way, it looks like an and symbol.
Oh, yeah. You know what?
Oh, infinity and. Whoa.
That's my ampersand on my arm.
You do.
Anyways.
Okay, here's what I'd like to pull the thread on. Pam, you said, and I think this is really powerful for coaches. Actually, I know it's powerful for coaches. In Coaching Magic, our first element of Coaching Magic is I am magic. And Pam, there we go. You got all of the elements. There she goes. Pam, you said you know that you are your best coach when you are in play, and it does something for your clients. If you were in a different energetic space other than play, and I have been that same place, what I notice is my clients don't get the best of me. So talk for a little bit about how your sense of play that is inside yourself, both from your sports history, just who you are as a Pam. Sometimes we wonder if Pam is a person. She's just a Pam. She's a Pam. Talk to us, unfold this, explore this, expand this for the coaches listening to this about what your clients experience when you are in your magic.
What are they experiencing? Well, the story I'm telling myself of what they are experiencing and I do actually witness this,
Yes.
is a relaxation, a melting, a sense of losing this boundary between what wants to be and what is. Because I think there's some fear around that. And when you are somebody who can laugh at themselves, who can see the paradox, see the irony, the hypocrisy that actually does not have to be a judgment, but can just simply be how funny it is to be human, and give people permission to just be a little imperfect, and suddenly it starts to flow and they feel like they are connected in this sense of absurdity. And it really is. We are always just moving through absurdity. So I hope that's how they're feeling, because I do feel like that is my superpower, is to disarm. Disarm, to kind of Jedi mind trick move with hard things and help people understand that, man, what is it? I want to say play bigger, but also in the same sense, I'm thinking it's like, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff.
Another paradox. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And so I hope that's what they're experiencing. And I know through some of the laughter and some of the way they can see themselves without feeling so, God, it's interesting. Judgment, it comes up. Judgment, self-judgment, and judgment of others.
Okay, Pam, I'm going to pull another thread from that. You used the word, now I can't exactly remember the words, but you said I'm not
That's
sure.
a lot of words. That's
Yeah,
why.
no,
A lot of
that's
words.
perfect amount of words. It was a perfect amount of words. There was something in there where, or maybe I experienced you saying these words, that you think maybe you know what they're experiencing, but then I also know that there's a deeper layer of knowing. Would you attempt to put some words to what you are feeling when that is happening, when they are expanding, when they're taking a new perspective, when they are melting, when they are relaxing? How did the energetic listening, so it's not just your words, it's not just your brain. Can you talk to us about what you're really sensing when that is happening?
I'm tempted to speak whale in this moment. Whoa, because there is a feeling.
Yeah.
There aren't words to it. There's a softening of the face. There's a crack in the smile. There's a giggle of self. There's a giggle of looking at the. Again, there's just kind of a letting down. The chest can kind of expand. The body language can, in some cases, there's actually bursting out of laughter, which there's a release. There's a release of energy to let them move, let them be free. And I watch that play out. And sometimes I do a lot of metaphor type of exercises to help them actually compare the thing that they're struggling with to something else, so it feels less personal outside of themselves, and it's easier to talk to. And then of course the ahas come in, and they realize that all of it is messaging for them. And there's actually there's this a more objective way of looking at something that feels really intimate. And that's the word, intimacy. How amazing is it that I feel like I am in the business of intimacy, which is the opposite of anything I had ever been taught about business. Business is business, and personal is personal. I remember when my boss used to tell me that she actually invited me to something that felt like even a happy hour, or let's get in the car together and drive to this thing. I was terrified. I was like, don't ask me any questions. We can't do this. This is like, you got to keep it totally separate. And I am now just realizing what a lost sense of nonsense of all of that separation. And now everything is about intimacy. I want them to see me, and I want them to feel like they can allow me to see them. And once that happens, the safety and the magic to me flows.
Thank you for putting that into words. I know from experience that putting that feeling, that that felt sense into words is difficult. You did a masterful job. Coaches, I want to point out some things that I noticed in Pam as she was describing this. She was describing this with words, but her body was also reflecting the words she was using. When she said things like, I feel them relaxing in, and my shoulders relaxed, her shoulders were relaxing. That inner smile, I noticed that when she said the inner smile, I put that inner smile on my face. I was listening to her and was feeling and it was coming out through my actions and my senses, that I was listening to her in a different way. So her words were talking to my energies. Her energies were talking to my energies. It absolutely happens in coaching. And if we are just listening with our ears or our minds, our intellect, we are missing a lot of things that could help people relax, see a different perspective, go ahead and open up their possibilities. Pam, I also just want to acknowledge you for that. I could feel the beautiful, safe, you use the word safety, safe space you're creating for your clients. And I could feel them getting in their cars and thinking, we're going to go see Pam today. And we're going to laugh and we're going to create and it's going to be safe. And we're going to come out with, we're going to expand our edges and then come back with, okay, boom, this is what we're going to do about that. I just want to acknowledge you for being a massive influence in the world of coaching.
Oh, thank you.
On so many different areas, in so many different areas.
Thank you.
What the world is so lucky to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was just thinking, I wanted to almost juxtapose that exact sentiment of when you talked about, we get to go see Pam today. And I think I have actually now created that feeling, and I think that is mostly true today. But I gotta kind of go back into the Wayback Machine, where I realized that I had accidentally caused some sort of fear or sense of judgment with my more athletic, I would say I'm kind of an athletic type of coach where my whole entire goal is to help them become the very best they can be. That just is my everything being. And at one point I had some clients they kept mistaking, like, Pam's going to be upset at me for not getting my rocks done. Pam's going to be really upset with us. And I'm actually having this realization right now of the absolute massive shift that I have clearly, I think I've made, whether it's perfectly clocked or not, to take that same client actually that I have in mind from that moment to now them walking in with an absolute sense of almost this liberated confidence that they are doing it for themselves. They're doing all of this for themselves. And I kept saying to them, stop using me, stop saying the phrase, stop using that, whatever I've done to mislead you into thinking that this is about me. I am deeply sorry. I have completely wronged you. This is totally on me. And there was a sense of them outsourcing their power to me because I made them feel small, which is this is the fucking aha moment for me of the person who wants to make everyone be bigger. I'm literally making them feel small because they feel like they owe me, or they're trying to meet my expectations. And now we have literally shifted them to a point of them saying, you are your own boss. You're your own barometer. I have nothing to do with it. And I'm so excited to help you be free. Actually, that is the biggest way of playing. So thank you, Jill, for pulling on that thread, yanking that chain, tugging at that cord, because I needed to hear that from myself.
Isn't it only always? Yay! So we also just got to witness a masterclass in self-coaching. Pam, just for that for the posterity of the podcast and recording this, Pam, did I hear you right? You have never unfolded in that thought until this moment?
Totally. This is like a aha moment for me. It's
Beautiful.
an awesome reflection.
Okay, everybody listening to the podcast or watching the podcast, give Pam some twinkle fingers, some sparkle fingers. Mm-hmm. These are
You witnessed it. You witnessed me.
Oh, there's such power in being witnessed. I love
Sing
that.
it. Sing it for the back, Jill. Sing it.
Oh, there's such power in being witnessed. Now, I wish I had a song about witnessing. Maybe I will write a song about witnessing because I would sing right now. So I would love to go into witnessing, the safety. I think this will be really useful for all of the other coaches listening, our friends who are listening. When we are, let's use the word mastering our craft. Coaching is a very creative profession, very creative profession. It's some people will say anybody can call themselves a coach these days, and I say wonderful. Wonderful. If you are feeling the invitation to help another person become their best, wonderful. And we will, and Pam, maybe you can put some sports metaphors in here too. As we go on any path to mastery, as we go on any path to mastery, I have seen this over my 11 years of coaching. We swing and we say, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this with all my might. And you swing clear over here and you use this talent of yours, Pam's encouraging of people to be their best and be bigger and be this and all of that. And we use it, and I think in psychology, they'll call it an overuse pattern. We use it. And then we'll go, oh no, I fucked that up. And then you go, I'm never going to do that again. And so you go all the way over here, swing the pendulum this way. And then you're like, well, that doesn't feel good. And we're just doing this. My coaches, we're just doing this all the time. And where I have seen some coaches get stuck is they say, it's not over here. I messed this up. Oh, I must not be very good at this. And I would say to you, stay in the game. Stay in the game. The tool we use for staying in the game with this pendulum is reflection. After every single coaching session, every conversation, you reflect to yourself, what was I feeling? What did I experience? I'm going to reflect on this afterwards too. This is a podcast. It's not even really a coaching session, but I'm going to ask myself, what worked well? Pam just unfolded in a huge awareness in my presence, in the presence of the safety of the Coaching Magic podcast, which this is a secret. We're not going to tell anybody. All right. You guys, we're not going to tell anybody. So I'm going to reflect on that, and that will help us look at those edges, not with a hammer, my friends. We are not looking at those edges with a hammer. I invite us to look at those edges with a flashlight, being curious. Pam,
You are,
thank
Jill,
you for exploring your overuse patterns right in front of us.
overuse patterns.
Reflect on your unfolding. Thank you.
Oh my God, that just sums up my life. Overuse patterns. Thank you. I was reflecting as you were talking on this paradox of our deepest desire is to be seen. And of course, our worst fear is to be seen in many ways. And that's what's happening in a room or with others, right? We are helping people and really, obviously, our job is actually help people see themselves, which is really part of that process and part of the unfolding. And so just, providing this container for people to explore that and go to places that they, it's actually a never ending kind of process of unfolding. And I think I have learned this in a way, maybe part of my magical way, if you will, is that I actually, I feel like I am comfortable confronting, and maybe, again, that's a very aggressive term, but confronting truth, if you will. Some cases, And I have the same type of thing with deep down humanness, and I'm exploring all of that in a whole nother way. But I used to actually think that somehow people couldn't see me. It was really funny, actually. And at one point, I found myself, and I was at this rugby event, or rugby practice, and I didn't want to be hit. I didn't want to go in the drills. I was just feeling like, please stop beating me up, kind of thing, and I just didn't want to do it. I started crouching behind a giant Gatorade water cooler, and it was just a physical thing. I had no actual conscious understanding of what was happening, but my body was hiding. And the funny thing was that one of my best friends just said, Pam, what are you doing? And I just looked at her, and she's like, we can see you, right? Like, do you not understand how literally ginormous you are behind a little water bottle? Like, it was absurd. And I just thought, God, that is actually what's happening. The secret is out, everybody. There are no secrets. And we're all wearing it. We're all just a giant we're all wearing the thing that we think privately no one can see. It's really funny. It's like my mom, who wants to be smaller, she'll actually put her food in small dishes. And I'm like, Mom, even though you're putting your food in small dishes, it's the same amount of calories. Like, we can see you eating, that you are actually still observing this calories. Like, it's just funny. I'm like, you could put it in a big bowl. You could put it in a small bowl. You could just eat it out of the container. It's actually the same amount. And it's so funny how much we try to hide things. And I have found that over time, that the more that we can get comfortable with just looking at those hard points, and believe me, I am not there, but that is this process, and letting people play with that and not feel judged by that. That is actually the hardest part. It's just holding that ability to have people see it with safety, because it's messy.
It's seeing themselves is so messy. And I just think about how I am seeing myself that is still unfolding. What a powerful thing we do in coaching, where we can reflect back to people what we're seeing. That's a huge part of what we do in coaching. There's another thing that we do. I'm gonna get super nerdy. It's a psychology term saying, I can't find my words. It's a psychology term for humans, where it's the subject-object transition, and it's where there's something swirling around here. We can't see it, but when we can get it out of ourselves and in front of us, subject, object, it's now in front of us, all of a sudden we can see it, and then we see ourselves. So it's the mirroring, it's the mirroring techniques in coaching. One thing that I have used often in coaching is, and it's very similar to your story of where your clients would come to you and say, oh, well, Pam will be mad at us if we don't. And you're like, wait a minute, they put the object on you instead of themselves. So one of the things I'll use often is when people, my clients are saying to me, oh my gosh, Jill, we love you so much. You have changed our company. You are the best thing that's happened to us since 1982. You. One thing that I learned from a dear friend, Anise Kavanaugh, she's also a really good friend of Marissa Smith's, really great book, Contagious You, everybody, if you want to read that. I got to have dinner with her one night, and I was explaining this to her, and it felt uncomfortable to me. I'm like, how is this? What's going on? And what she explained to me, and I've used now, is when someone is falling in love with me, or someone is praising me, I'm going to thank you. I'm happy to be a part of this. But what's really happening is they're falling in love with themselves. They are proud of themselves. They are now proud of the company that they built. They are now proud of the life they are living. They are now proud of and seeing themselves as an amazing coach that they are. So I love to say that. I love to just turn that around. My actual phrase is thank you, because also I am learning to receive. thank you. I will take 2% of the credit, but you did 98% of the work and you engaged with it. You made this happen. You're falling in love with yourself. And if more of us could fall in love with ourselves from that place of wholeness instead of lack, it's turned falling in love with myself on a whole new trajectory of this is how I serve the world when I love myself from wholeness versus what I used to think was loving myself was prideful, sinful, small-minded. If I love myself, if I love myself and really feed into myself, well, I'm not serving the world. And I've just flipped all of that around to when I love myself, I can help other people fall in love with themselves and their companies.
Oh, sing it. Sing it.
Bring it.
I just keep singing it. I more than ever, it's about, I think the permission to, I keep thinking of this, the drama triangle and the rescuer of the, and so ever thinking like you are a rescuer or a client that is a victim.
Yes.
And that is literally what it feels like. That's the difference is if I am coming from a place of I have deeply listened to myself, I am deeply I know myself, I'm exploring all of the edges, all of the pieces, and I'm working, I'm the only one who can, if you will, solve my own, some people call it head trash or my own lack syndrome, things that are true, all of my belief system, all of that stuff. And the moment that we outsource that, the moment we outsource our agency, we ask others to tell us our truth is the immediate distance from self that causes dis-ease, right? Disease is that separation. And I think the wholeness, I think exactly what you're saying is as we step into a room and a space and a whole self, there's this phrase, and I'm not going to say it right, of like, you are suffering and I am not. If you are suffering, I am not. It is not my turn. I am whole. And therefore, I can be here with you. And that is the place to be. And anything else actually is almost like, what is it? It's like exposing your yuck. It's like getting them all. It's like, being Pigpen in a room emotionally, actually. And so I think that absolutely is that self-healing, self-agency, self-awareness is the path to having the most impact possible.
I love what you said about, being in our own wholeness, the humans and the teams that we coach, knowing that they are whole and complete.
Yes.
They wonderful. And I like to say, and now we're unfolding right there.
Yep.
It's so paradoxical that what we're trying to do is have this within ourselves. And at the same time, we need each other to see ourselves. But that I love being on this, I'm just going to say it for myself, on this other side where I came from was, earlier in my life was there is one way to do it. There is one path, one set of rules. And I was trying to figure out what are the rules. Because if I follow the rules, I will go to heaven, whatever. Yeah. I'm trying to figure that out and trying to be all these things. And now I'm on this other side. I've maybe crossed a bridge where I can hold paradox. I can hold paradox. Both are true. Yes. I know that I used to say, and I see coaches doing this too. They'll say, but Jill, last week you said this. and in the past, or a client will say, oh, that's not what the book says. Like, can we be in a place where we can hold some paradox? Now, I do want to acknowledge that if I was in paradox all of the time, that would be chaos. Mm-hmm. And there is room for even that, both. There is room for chaos and discipline. There is room for opening it up wide to possibilities and making a decision and going forward with one thing.
Yeah.
That is like that's the secret.
But that alone is the paradox, actually, that there is nothing in our world that is black and white or binary, and yet we have to make decisions in binary code most of the time. But the path to simplicity is through complexity. And so we can get stuck in one way or the other. If we don't understand the complexity, we can't actually simplify to the right common denominator. And if we're not constantly questioning our thoughts and trying to be curious about whether or not the thing we thought was the right thing, then we can't actually grow and change. It to me is just you reminded me of that cartoon of the caterpillar. The caterpillar having the lunch with the butterfly. And the caterpillar says to the butterfly, well, you've changed. And the butterfly says, isn't that what we're supposed to do? I think that's the funniest cartoon. And it is funny to me. I was actually thinking about this, where when people change their minds, oh my God, I love it. I love it. And yet, so please feel free to change your mind if you have information or if you have an unfolding that allows you to see things new, and not apologize for everything you used, like where you were, it got you to where you're going. And so I'm always saying, guys, the only way through is through. There's actually no way to skip the steps.
That's right.
And all of it, I totally appreciate the idea that this could lead to chaos. So I'm totally conscious of it, knowing that I'm a chaos creator by default. And so what I have learned to love is this idea that there is process that sets you free. There are some sort of ways, I would say almost like rules of thumb, if you will. And if that is the skeleton that's helping you just stay, you know my skeleton thing. The skeleton is the structure. And what's so fascinating is that we used to think that we had a very limited view of biology, of how the skeleton used to hold us up, kind of thing. And yet finally we're now seeing the relationship of the muscle and fascia. And they call it tension and integrity. They call it tensegrity, which is the coolest word. Tensegrity, this tension that moves with integrity to actually move the body. And frankly, so you don't break your bones. It allows you to put this dynamic world to it. So I'm like, all right, yes, and there's some structure, and your fascia and your muscle got to power it and move it dynamically. So,
Yes.
I don't know why I almost said party on, Wayne. I don't know why I just almost said that. Garth, or whatever.
We were feeling it coming through. All right. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is out there swirling for us to grab onto. Party on, Garth. Does that mean I'm Wayne and you're Garth?
I don't know. I can't remember which one is which.
I'm gonna have to watch a clip now. Pam, I love your analogy of the skeleton. And we have lots of tools that we use as coaches that I love this now. Like, use the tools as a skeleton. We move, and the muscles help us move a little bit better and bigger and maybe sometimes smaller, and rest and play. One of the algorithms, I'm writing the issues book right now with EOS Worldwide. And so this algorithm, and I just did a breakout session at the EOS conference on it, this algorithm of identify, discuss, and solve. It's just a skeleton. And I have a question right now in my inbox from a client that says, we think we should do it this way, and these people think we should do it this way. And I'm like, whatever, because it's just a skeleton. And think about this. I think this is just coming to me right now. When we say identify an issue, we're just saying, what do we want? Like, what do we want to spend our time on? What's the most important thing? What's this? It's just us saying, what do we want? So that's a little bit of focus, like we're going to do this. Discuss, it's total chaos. Yes. It's opening it up for all of the possibilities, and then boom, solve. Boom, what are we going to do about it? It's such a magical algorithm that can't is just a skeleton. It's just a
Yes.
skeleton. And I find teams consistently say, I want to do this better. I want to do this better. And they're looking for more rules. They're looking for more rules. And again, this email I'm about to, I don't answer emails with email. I like to say, call me, because there's usually something underneath that.
Yeah.
But when I'm going to discuss this today, I think I'm going to introduce that. Look, we're just saying, what do we want to talk about? Opening it up for all the possibilities. Solve. So you might do it this way. You might spend a lot more time on the chaos, and you might want to do research on the chaos and this and this. You might try 3 different solves. You might go experiment with that, but it's just this beautiful skeleton.
That is floating. They call it floating inside your body. That is literally how the skeleton is out. It's floating inside soft tissue. It's resulting in, like, all the bodies everything's kind of acting to distribute strain. That is kind of how this works. And solve is a hilarious thing. It's just it's always just a funny word. Like, it's forever, and you're trying,
we're
but
trying.
it's like your permission is also to totally get it, ass backward wrong. And so it is. And so there, you can adjust,
Teams that I have a hard time solving, I will sometimes suggest the word, could we experiment with that? It doesn't feel so tight, like this is what we're going to do forever. Forever.
Like a gavel. A gavel has come down.
Boom. Like it shall never be overturned again. Sometimes they don't know what the right solve is. Sometimes they don't even know, touching my gut. Sometimes that hasn't come to them there yet. They're not feeling or seeing all of the data around it. So sometimes it's like, hey, why don't we just keep this solve in experiment mode? Could we agree to experiment with this for 4 weeks? What if you played a game? So bringing the fun back into it. What if you played a game with this for 4 weeks? And, we see how many smiles we can collect with this new method. But yes, it's floating. This IDS algorithm is the skeleton floating inside the body of the company. Wow,
Yes.
Pam.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Pam, we're about out of time, but we're gonna do something fun. Are you ready?
Always.
Of course you are. Of course you're ready. You said we cannot outsource our seeing of ourselves. You said that at one point. But there is one entity that we can outsource.
I know where you're going.
We can outsource our bullshit to this very powerful thing that I'm going to ask you to introduce the world to. Pam has used this successfully, this tool. So coaches, like, buckle up, if you've been listening to this on slow motion or fast motion, like, slow it down, because you're really going to want to be present for this. I have used this tool in my sessions and coaching with massive unfolding and results, and so has Pam. And so, Pam,
Are you ready for the magical tool
you've got
to
it?
introduce to your clients?
Share with us all of the intense scientific theory first. Or second, whatever.
Or second, in any order, because there's no right order. I would say, Jill, also, I do want to honor the fact that I have absolutely said we can't outsource it. And yet, your absolute wisdom bomb is that we still need each other to see, and there's a witnessing. You can't understand the system and at the same time be a part of the system, said all the people,
It's all allowed. Everything is allowed, especially paradox.
Yes, and so I do totally, I want you to know, I honor that duality. Thank you. And so I want to introduce to everyone, Frankie, the dancing hot dog. He is sitting in a mustard jar, and he has giant eyeballs. He's got some mustard on his front in his meat suit with a bun and his arms, and he's very outstretched, ready to go. And he is here to listen to you deeply and play back to you what his big wisdom bombs are. Okay, and so I just want you to, and okay, well, we'll get into it. So Jill, I'm gonna have you actually hold on. This isn't gonna work. Well, because of this headphone thing. Let's say something. Okay, let's see. All right, Pam, wait, ready? Here what I've demonstrated. I gotta turn them on. Pam, you sure do have a lot to learn, young lady.
Pam, you sure do have a lot to learn, young lady.
Yeah, he's getting in there with me. Sing it, Frankie. Tell me how awesome I am.
Sing it, Frankie. Tell me how awesome I am.
And how smart am I? Did I do a good job?
And how smart am I? Did I do a good job?
This is ridiculous, Frankie. You don't have any answers for me.
This is ridiculous, Frankie. You don't have any answers for me.
Yeah, that was lovely. Frankie, thank you also for joining us on the Coaching Magic podcast, where we enjoy absurdities and get so much shit done. Pam, I used this for the first time with a client. They came in, this was a team that came in very stressed, very like, we must solve we must solve world peace today. And one of the objectives for all of my sessions are have fun. And I sometimes explain why we have fun. It opens up creativity, all of the good sciencey stuff. And I said, and if I sense that we are taking ourselves too seriously, we can take our work seriously. We can, but we don't take ourselves so seriously. If I suspect that someone's taking themselves too seriously, I will get Frankie.
You gotta send him to Frankie.
And we used it twice, and I'm like, I just gently grabbed Frankie and put it on their desk in front of them. They turned it on and said something, and we roared with laughter, the whole room.
That's awesome.
So I know this started as like something super funny and fun, and it was so useful.
I love it. I so appreciate that you understand that. And I think the mirroring of this amazing hot dog, which by the way, Jill, I think you're the one who coined this, or maybe Sarah Stern did, with a bun dance. A bun is dancing, is abundance. I mean, all of this has just got this spirit of, play and seeing yourself and realizing that it's all just a funny illusion, isn't it? It's just you're trying to find the truth, and it turns out you're the only one who has it.
And it's I'm in this space where I'm becoming more aware of suffering on the planet. On the planet with other humans, and at the same time, I'm loving them. I'm sitting with it like it exists. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. And at the same time, my job is to be a loving, present being in that suffering.
Yes.
That's my job. That's my job. So I see it.
Jill, 'cause
I'm not denying it's not there.
You're holding both. Oh my gosh. There's a whole nother several hours of this. I am so excited that you said that. This is a lot. We'll have to continue this later.
Yeah.
You just do that at the very end. You're like, oh, and this is what I'm unfolding to learn. And I'm like, Jill!
Pam, thank you for seeing me in my growth. Thank you.
I see it. I have been like, this is a big moment. I don't think people understand how big that moment is right now. This is huge.
It's big. It's big. I'm expanding. One thing I just said to our Coaching Magic school is, I teach the school. I created the school. And I'm also enrolled. I am enrolled, right, with everybody else.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I'm enrolled. There's no separation between teacher and student. We are all in this together.
And you know what, Jill? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And it turns out You're the teacher. And so is Frankie. Frankie is showing you that you are the teacher. That is so funny.
I love it so much. I love this profession of coaching where how paradoxical it is that we as coaches are really only helping people realize that they are their own best coach.
Yes, and I will say, all of this, you are absolutely learning from your clients. What I love about it is this permission to actually be growing with them.
Absolutely. Only always.
Only always.
No
sacred spaces, no princesses, no.
Nope. We share it all. We grow with. There doesn't need to be a boundary in between. In fact, if we try to put a boundary in between us and our clients, like I'm going to do this part and you're going to do that part and we got to keep them totally separate. Yeah. It actually takes a ton of energy from the coach's part. A ton of energy to stay away from those changes, to stay away from those connections. Oh my goodness. Pam Kosanke, thank you so much for opening up possibilities for us today. Thank you for showing in a real somatic feeling way, sharing those moments with us, showing us what it looks like to unfold. And yes, coaches, we are growing every single day. And if we're, Pam, how do you
die to grow, Jill, die to grow, kill it off, change. Don't be the same person you were yesterday. Oh, kill that thing. It's okay. Because you're supposed to be a butterfly. Go through the soup over and over again. Dance with the bun.
Abundance.
Oh my God.
And with that, our Coaching Magic podcast is over, and I'm just going to sprinkle one little thing in here, just as it's a sprinkle. It's a heads up of something to come.
Say it.
Pam and I and Sarah Stern are putting together a magic show. And if you,
oh my God,
if a tingle just went through your body like it did through mine, you might want to watch out for what that is.
Yes. Yeah. We're not going to tell you. We're just going to say it's a total magic show.
Magic show.
And yes, it's a magic show. It's going to be so epic. And here's the deal, you guys. I want you just to think about this paradox. We pay to watch illusions on stage at magic shows. People literally go to magic shows to be tricked. They know they're fake, and they call it entertainment, okay? But we live inside illusions every day, thinking they're real, and call it reality. So we're going to blow your mind into the knowing with this magical, non-illusion magic show. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Because listen, I don't create anything that I wouldn't do myself.
I know. So great.
It is in the middle of being created. So send us your magic sparkles.
Yep. If you're hearing this frequency, invite yourself and be ready for the invitation. It's coming. We're all a part of it. Turns out you're already invited. If you can hear this, if you can speak whale, you too are invited to this magic show and all the future magic shows. Just wait.
Enough said.
Okay.
Bye, Pam. I love you.
Glad that was clear. I love you too. Bye.
Thank you for playing with me today in the land of coaching magic. If you want more magic, I invite you to explore www.jillyoung.com. This is where you can see all the shenanigans I've created for you to expand your world of coaching. See you there. And remember, you are magic.